if I can move you around a bit. Gerard's going to come in and plonk himself there.
Good morning, Mr. Farrow.
What
Is this
are
the
your
beginning of the end?
expectations for the speech today?
Oh, he's going to kick the can down the road, isn't he? I mean, he's going to say, if I win the next general election, which looks pretty unlikely, I will renegotiate, which looks impossible, and you might have a referendum in 5 years' time. I mean, the difficulty with it is, of course, we've heard it all before.
Where are the bacon rolls?
Yeah.
Where's the brekkie? Sorry about this, chaps. We haven't done very well, have we? We had a load last week.
We had a load on Friday.
Yeah, yeah, we pre-ordered them.
Isn't there a risk with this that, UKIP's USP is sort of defunct now? You say you're the only party that will offer British people the opportunity to take back powers from Europe. Well, that's not true anymore.
The fact is that it's only UKIP, as a political party, that's there to join this debate. Yes, there are some Tory backbenchers. Yes, there are some Labour backbenchers. But really, it's only us. So, no, I think that, frankly, the genie's out of the bottle. You know, once the out word's been mentioned, it's going to be very difficult for the Prime Minister or Ed Miliband or anybody else to put it back in.
But on renegotiated terms, with lots of powers brought back to Britain, it certainly undermines the case for in as we are now or out entirely.
If what we hear in a minute is the Prime Minister saying that after the next election he will invoke Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, which is the only mechanism that exists within the treaties to renegotiate powers back to a member state, if that's what he says in this speech, then yeah, then I will start taking him seriously.
This morning I want to talk about the future of Europe. But first, let us remember the past. We have the character of an island nation. We are independent, forthright, passionate in defence of our sovereignty.
No, we're not. No, we're not. This is the stand-up bit.
For all our connections with the rest of the world, of which we are mightily proud, we have always been a European power, and we always will be.
So he's really saying, isn't he, that our European links are more important than our global links.
Now there are always voices that say don't raise the difficult questions.
Don't bang on about Europe.
In its long history, Europe has experience of heretics who've turned out to have a point.
Quite.
And my point is this.
Thank you.
All of the same will not.
It is nonsense that people shopping online in some parts of Europe are unable to access the best deals simply because of where they live.
So he wants more integration, basically, doesn't he? I mean, that's what he's saying,
Further
isn't
integration.
it? Yeah.
Further harmonisation.
Yeah.
Further regulation.
They see treaty after treaty changing the balance between member states and the EU, and they note they were never given a say. They've had referendums promised, but not delivered.
No, really? God, how about that? Well, that's new, isn't it?
There are some who suggest we could turn ourselves into Norway or Switzerland with access to the single market, but outside the EU. But would that really be in our best national interests?
Wouldn't look like the Swiss, would we? That'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
Singapore or Canada or Australia.
We could be rich. It'd be awful.
I will not rest until this debate is won. For the future of my country, for the success of the European Union, and for the prosperity of peoples and for generations to come. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah. Very good. I thought it was quite an old-fashioned speech in many ways. It was the kind of thing British Prime Ministers have been saying really for over 40 years. I honestly don't believe, particularly given the crisis that Europe's in, that there's any chance of a serious negotiation of powers coming back to Britain unless he was to have said he would invoke Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, which is the mechanism by which you can get powers back.
Isn't the truth this does pose a real challenge to UKIP, who, you've picked up a lot of support since the summer with the prevarication over this speech. That easy support, as it were, from the fact that you're making the most strident noises on Europe, is really under threat now by Cameron. I mean, is there a change of tactic for UKIP?
I'm not. This isn't about. I mean, we are not a party dominated by ambition for power. We're a party dominated by the view that we want to get back the independence, freedom, and self-government of this country. That is what really matters to us. And if he'd said, this morning, I'm going to have a referendum before the next general election, and it's going to be a full, free, and fair referendum, I'd have cheered him to the rooftops. But that's not what I've heard. All right.
Ben, thank
Good.
you, Nigel.
Okay, thank you. Very early start.